All right, you're live. I got
Perfect.
LaShonda Belton, the coupon queen pin.
Yes. Yeah. See, you got it. You got it. The
I
coupon.
got it. And she is the host of CQP Moments, her own podcast, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I call it making deals when life gets in the way.
I like your style.
Yes, I love it. I just, I'm happy to be on because you were on mine and we talked about some stuff and
Yeah,
I'm loving this.
I did an episode with you. I reached out to you. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken, right? And
Right, you did.
I don't reach out to a lot of people on their podcast, even though someone sent me a list. I went through it and I said, who do I think I'd kind of hit it off with here? And I saw yours, and I try to help men and women live an incredible life affordably.
Right.
And then just the name, the coupon queen, I'm like, this is dope.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was so funny because I was like, okay, I don't know this name. Why is this person reaching out to me? And then I was like, oh, he wants to be a guest. And then I went through and those that do listen to CQP Moments know that I do this thorough kind of check. Like I don't want weirdos on my thing, which it has happened. There have been a few that slipped through the cracks, but
Right.
it was like, okay, and I was like, oh no, I have to have him on. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was a blast because I think both of us kind of got caught off guard. And, because we didn't know who the hell I was. I really didn't know who you were. And that thing was kind of really weird with me. I honestly forgot I had something scheduled with you. And
did you really?
I did. And because I don't do anybody else's podcast. And I'm not really great at, I'm okay at knowing my schedule, but not always. But to make a long story short, I got back home and it popped up like you have something in 10 minutes. And I was like, what the hell do I forgot because we scheduled it. I ran upstairs in my studio or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I didn't know if we were going to be on video, audio. I didn't care. I'm like, let's do this. And we did it. And
right.
I had one of the best times I've ever had on a podcast. And
well, thank you. Thank you. I had a blast too. I love conversations.
Yeah. And what was interesting with you is, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast what happened was after I did that, I sent it out to a bunch of people. And if you know anything about me or you're listening to my podcast, I usually am known for helping men with their image, to be style, fashion, health, and wellness.
Right.
Kind of in that realm, helping also, which I think caught you by surprise, kind of relationships. And because I thought we were going to be mainly talking about coupons and saving money and how to travel incredibly and how to shop and consignment, resale. And we didn't go that way at all. We didn't even get into that.
That's why I always tell people, I tell people all the time, I am not doing an intro and an outro until we have this conversation because I don't want to say we're talking about coupons and we go and we talk about puppies. I just love genuine conversation. So yeah.
Yeah. And what was interesting is one is, I called you actually, or I think I emailed you. I'm sorry. So I got all this feedback and I said, I did this podcast with somebody else. And I thought we had a really fun dynamic chemistry and everybody was agreeing with me. And other people were just hitting me back saying, Rich, you got to do more of these. And I said, you know what, I'm going to hit her up and just say, let's kind of do our own show. Let's just kind of wing it. Let's have fun.
Right.
Wanted to do it.
Right.
And then you're like, I'm down with it. And I said, this is cool. And then I said, let's kind of let's both get this going here. And you're like, yeah, let's do it after the new year. And I'm like, oh, wow, she really wants to get things going. And I like her style. And then, then you said, so we have scheduled next week, three days, right? Of shooting or?
We have scheduled, actually we have scheduled one day. I didn't know if you wanted to do 3 days, but yeah, we have scheduled for a few days or one day or, however the schedule works out. So yeah, I'm down.
Whatever works best for you. And what I really want to do in this podcast, one is I want to get you on video, even though you didn't do it. Damn you. But we're going to start getting you on video. I don't care.
Okay, let's put it this way. Okay. I don't know if you've been talking to my friend, the shooter, who has been trying to get me on camera forever. But yes, eventually CQP, the Queen Pin, will be on video.
You should It should
This
be
is a
on that
promise
show.
to
That
me.
should be your coming out. The first episode will blow people away. They'll finally see you.
I know. Everybody be like, wait, what?
Let's do it. So I tried to get her on video this way, and we didn't pull it yet. And then she said, give me some more time. And I understand that completely. But what I wanted to do here when I hit her up, it said, all right, we're going to start doing the episode after the new year. I don't even know the name yet. And I love every aspect of this because I kind of take a backseat to you. And just kind of because, when you have your own podcast, I'm always kind of in control of all my guests or doing my rants or all the types of things. I said, let me go on something where I can just be the talent or be fun. And with this intro, what I wanted to do was kind of show people behind the scenes of the discussions that we're going to have preparing for the show. I thought that
right. And the funny thing was, I got some actually very interesting feedback because you and I spoke, and we spoke very briefly about the whole, dare I say it, KS debacle. That man who shall not be named.
I think you're going to have to name him. I forgot who that is. Is that one dude?
Kevin Samuels.
Oh, wait, what's his name?
Kevin Samuels.
Yes. Okay. You don't like that guy.
Okay, well, the funny thing is, neither do a lot of my listeners. And when it got mentioned, when they heard when you said, hey, people have suggested that I should take him on. And people were like, is he really going to do it? Is he going to take him on? Please tell me he's going to take this man on. And I said, we can touch on that. But the thing is not to start an all-out battle. We're just dispelling a lot of these myths that he's been putting out there. And that's really what we want to do. Not so much like, okay, well, this is like a war and we're going to Middle Earth with Kevin Samuels. Like, this is not what's happening. This is not Lord of the Rings.
Ridiculous. And you know what? He's one of my assistants, or he helps me a lot. He always says, Rich, kind of like watch his videos. And I only watched a couple of them. I didn't see because a lot of people will be like, you could be the male version of him or the white version. I know this, the Italian version, and I would listen. And I think he has his own way of doing things. He's really dynamic.
Right.
He's got a great style about himself.
Right.
And, I look at a lot of the positive, but I guess I disagree with other things that maybe he says. Of course, we all have different opinions on when.
And I think that's really what it is the whole opinion thing. Everybody doesn't realize you are entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah, of course.
My problem is, and I've told you this before, is women are going on his show knowing that they're going to be berated.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but don't you think it's a form of entertainment too? Do you know what I mean? Like he's
it is.
And then they're kind of. I'm not saying it's Jerry Springer or any of these shows,
right.
But we all go on. People go on there, and it's kind of to get some exposure and have some fun and not and so serious. But sometimes it is. But yeah.
I get where you're going with that. Definitely. So yeah, I got some really good feedback from our episode, and people are like, yeah, you guys should definitely work together. So here we are.
Yeah, a lot of times too, I don't know if you've been through this. So after making some films and writing books and doing whatever I've done, I never want to usually get my identity wrapped up with someone else a lot of times,
And I understand that.
Because then all of a sudden you're known as these two or that, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, my identity, I think at this point, especially at my age and with online, I don't think I'm going to have that problem, nor do I care anymore. I would love to be attached now at this point in my life to other projects or different things going on, if that makes sense, because it's a whole different audience for me. I definitely do want to start but helping women, because I'm always trying to help men, trying to uplift them, make them feel confident in the best they can feel. And a lot of times what's interesting is I used to hang with a lot more women. And I used
to say that. Now, I have a question though. How did that start though?
I think it actually started with my cousins. I had a lot of beautiful cousins, and I was the baby on my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
And they were all in the fashion industry or the garment industry.
Right.
So I would be around them, and they would always be babysitting me a lot, right?
Oh.
And then I learned how to just be around a lot of women that were all different ages and a lot of beautiful women. I know that sounds crazy, but they were my cousins, right? And then I would meet my cousins' friends. So then also my father owning a bar and nightclub throughout my life. I was just around a lot of different women. They were bartenders. It could be a bar back. It could be a waitress, a manager, whatever, people hanging there. So
Right.
as time went on, even when I went through high school and all this, I think I treated women differently than most men. I wasn't intimidated by women. I've been around all these different types of women, and I just learned how to have conversations with them. And even after my divorce and me, I went to California, and then I wrote a book on modeling, and I used to model when I was younger. I make films. So even if I have actresses, some are beautiful. And being around models, just all women, I take a different approach on how to learn how to build friendships with them. It's not about hitting on them. It's not about immediately having to date them, spending all this money on them.
Right.
Just learning to start from like kind of ground zero and becoming more and more friends with women, who in turn usually introduce you to more women. And before you know it, you're surrounded
And
by
I
women.
think, yeah, I think the thing is, I've always had the opposite effect where I've hung out with a lot of guys. So it's like I always have to have I've always had that perspective of like, well, how are guys thinking about this? How are what is the guys' take on this?
Right.
Because I was always that person that's like the confidant. So yeah.
Yeah, most men are programmed to, for one, I think, just not be friends with women. It's kind of like you have to date them or it's nothing. And then it's hard to have a relation or friendship after you're, say you separate or you break up or whatever. And I also think a lot of women don't want their man to be friends with other women, where in turn they can be friends with other men.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. And also men, after someone breaks up with them or they get dumped or it ends, it ends harshly, instead of taking the high road and actually learning from that person or still becoming friends. Because I think it's ridiculous, even throughout my life, is I can be with someone, maybe or maybe not, you're in love with them, you spend all this time together with them, and then all of a sudden in this relationship, it ends with somebody who I really cared about. Now I can never see or talk to them anymore. Or I got to, delete them off social media.
Yeah, and I think that's so weird though.
I do too. But a lot of people are insecure, and what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I think a lot of women too, they get put in a bad spot where I think they do want to be friends sometimes with whoever they broke up with or whatever, but then online, say they start dating someone else, and I've gone through that, where they're like, then that guy they're with can't handle her even having a friendship or
right
with that
right person. which I have actually, I will tell you, I have gone through that where I was actually dating someone and they went and private messaged my ex. And it's like, we're simply friends. Why are you inboxing? Like, you went through my friends list to find this person, to inbox them to make sure that it's nothing more, or what's the status of where we are, or that's like super weird to me.
Yeah, it's weird to me too when like say on social media, you start dating someone new and then they all of a sudden want to become friends with everybody you're friends with, or the people you've dated previously. They find out, they see photos. That gets kind of corny too. Like, just worry about your own relationship. I'm definitely not somebody, if I started dating somebody where I'm caught up, for one, I'm not even interested necessarily in any of that. I'm just kind of looking at building my relationship with you and starting a whole new endeavor, not getting caught up with how good looking your exes were, how wealthy were they, where did you go with these people, how in any way, shape, or form does that really work for me?
And that's what I really don't understand. It's like, if I'm with a person, I'm with that person. How does what I had with my ex become an issue now?
Well, there is a competition level. I think I'll speak for men. I do think, actually men and women, I do think there's the competitive nature, no matter what anyone says, to a certain degree. Like, how do I stand up to your exes or your ex? There is that component. Here's my theory, and I write about it in my book, Wingman, and I talk about it on my program, Mastering Self-Confidence for Men, is when you start dating somebody, you want to have the freshest start, I think, possible. Now, that doesn't mean to discard anything that whoever you're with likes, right? I'm saying not to go, like, if you like certain restaurants, most likely she went with her exes to these restaurants.
Right.
right? You know, like, let's face it, she likes to go to a certain mall. I bet she's been there with her ex, you know. She likes going to the movies. We understand she's probably been on numerous amounts of dates at the movie theater. But when you do start dating, take a step out and start doing things that maybe she's never done before, or you start doing things you've never done in places also you've never done it. So, and say she loves Hawaii, you're like, hey, you've already probably been there with a dude. Hey, let's go to, have you ever been to Bahamas? Yeah, I've been there. Okay, you might have been there with a dude or not. How about Jamaica?
Right.
No, I've never been there. Let's go
Right.
there. Let's start our own memories, not get caught up with memories of the past where you're kind of, you know, competing.
And I think that's the one thing is like, because I always call it going back to old reliable.
Yeah.
Where you have that place where it's comfortable for you, even though you may be with a new person, but it's comfortable for you. So let's go. We're going to take a trip to, and everybody, I don't know what the heck was in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody wanted to go to Aruba.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh, let's go to Aruba.
Yeah.
But you were in Aruba with your ex, now you're in Aruba with your current, and it's like, you know, and now, like you said, he's now getting a little bit upset because she's like, oh, this is my favorite place to eat, this is my favorite place to do, and you find out, yeah, there are memories that are already made there. Instead of saying, hey, let's do something fresh and new, let's go to the Caymans, let's do this, let's do something else.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one of the most interesting things. Like I tell people in a minute, one of the craziest things that I do, and anytime I test at a new Chinese restaurant, is I always get the hot and sour soup with no meat in it. And everybody's like, why? I said, because if you can mess up hot and sour soup, I don't want the rest of your food. If you can mess up soup, I don't want the rest of your food.
Right.
So it's like, and I think they're always putting this litmus test, that same type of test that I do. In other words, I know what I want my food to taste like. I know what I'm testing for. So if you mess this up, then there is nothing else. And I think what is happening is they're testing people without letting them know they're testing them.
For sure. I think too, I'll just say for men, like a lot of times they'll go to their favorite restaurant if they're dating someone new. And that's understandable. We get it. It's your favorite joint. You know, you're going to get certain type of food that you like and it's consistent. But when you walk in there, how many times have you been there with other women? And then when you're starting to talk to the manager or the waitress, she could pick up on that, right?
Right.
And
right.
I think that's kind of, you don't have to do that right off the bat to impress them. But on the flip side, I've discussed in my book with women, sometimes they don't even realize, say you go shopping and you're like, hey, what's your favorite type of cologne? What would you like me to get, right? You're the dude. And she's like, oh, I like this and this. And then literally you can ask them, hey, did your exes wear this? And usually they'll be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's not what I want to get. I need to kind of get away. I don't want smelling like your ex, just saying. I don't want your pillowcases when I'm with you or your sheets to smell like him or throughout your place.
Right. And it's crazy because I did have an ex that literally was, I don't know if I told you, was trying to turn me into his ex-wife.
Yeah. That happens with a lot of people, like clothes.
Slowly
right?
but surely.
Shopping,
like,
the meal, like you should be eating this or you should be wearing this. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Before. I get it.
Yeah. Because he's like, no, you should get your hair done like this. And I'm like, why are you so like, this was the first time like a guy was so interested in the exact way I had my hair done. I'm like, why are you so interested? Well, my ex-wife, and it's like, and after I think I would say the fifth time, like for a while you're like, okay, I get it. You know, the ex-wife. But now you're like, okay, enough with the ex-wife. I am not the ex-wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, these are great. These will be the type of subjects I think me and you will cover on the show. That'll be quite interesting, which I like that we're discussing them now. We're giving them an idea of what, right? Is it this kind of?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, we have a lot of different things we could go through, but these are a perfect example of maybe God, what's that guy's name? I can never remember it. I'm so sorry.
Okay, see, this is why, for those that don't know, I always call him he that shall not be named.
Okay.
Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels. So doesn't he though, which I didn't know if you wanted to do, this is a good discussion, are you going to want to take phone calls? Do you want me to get questions or do you do you want to
I
just
figure we can do both because I do have a mixture of people that I have some people that email me. I have some people that will direct message me. Sometimes every once in a while I will get a voice message because my platform does allow for voice messaging.
right?
So, I mean, we can take phone calls. That'll be great. That'll be great because I mean, sometimes we can even do it where we're doing a live and we can really just go for it.
Yeah, I love it. And most of my audience, I don't even know if you know this, is men. So it's like 79, or it might even be higher, 80% male. And I'm usually, believe it or not, it's a younger crowd. It's like 18 to 35. And that's probably too because YouTube, for the most part, is really a lot of men watch YouTube. You know, I'm just saying, and a lot of my podcasts are geared towards men. But I think most of your audience is women, right? So I think we'll be able to kind of cross over where my
Oh,
audience
okay.
hear
Here's the
you.
thing. I get a mixture and it depends on, from what I've been told, what time of day that people are listening.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard that too. Oh, awesome. Okay.
So yeah, I do get a mix. I do get a mix. And depending upon the topic, it depends on who will reach out to me because I for the most part, I would say 60% of women reach out to me,
Mm.
but I will get every once in a while get that message from a guy like, well, what did you mean by that? Or how do I reach out to this person? Or how can you help me with this? So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I sent you a bunch of material that I've kind of gone through over the years that I put in
Right.
my book and my program. So I think we got a really like a tremendous amount of content that we can use.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but I want to make it fun. I don't
Oh,
want to.
this is definitely going to be fun. This is definitely going to be fun. So, I mean, you know me. I'm not too serious. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want a relationship type show, or even if it's about money or just trying to save money or anything, where it's like we sound like we're preaching. And,
Right. That's
you
not
know,
what I want. I want people to feel very relaxed. I want people to feel like, hey, you know what? I just want to join in the conversation, or I wanted to ask this question. And one of the things that I did say to you was, I want people to be able to ask you some of the questions that sometimes they can't feel like they can't broach with their significant other for whatever reason.
sure.
I want people to be able to ask those questions like, hey, you know what, Shonda, I want this from a woman's perspective, or I want this from a guy's perspective. I wanted to ask that my significant other this, but I can't quite, don't know how to quite say it, or I feel like it's too, they're going to take this the wrong way. What do you think? You
Yeah.
know, so I think that that's really, really one of my goals for this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I think too, a lot of times what I run across is people are afraid. I don't know if they're afraid, but yeah, I'd say to a certain degree, they're afraid to ask, say, their family members, friends, or colleagues certain questions
Right.
because they're going to
Right.
get judged. They also know if they ask those questions to them, they almost know how they're going to respond. They want
Right.
somebody kind of that has no personal connection to them and to give them some advice, maybe if it works or not. But there's no backstory to it. I don't know the history of who they dated, who they didn't, how much money they spent or didn't spend. Because when you ask people that know you, they're going to be judging you previously on all the other things you've done.
Right, right. And then comes the weird clapback or non-clapback or whatever. Yeah, I
Or the
that's the
dig,
thing.
you know, or you get made
Yeah.
fun of. You're a joke now, or you're always like
Yeah.
this with women, or you've been doing this with men forever. Who do you think
Right.
you are? You know, all these type of things.
Right.
And I think if we're going to have fun with it, where it doesn't become, which I see a lot of shows where it becomes an interrogation. Like the question is to set someone up to make them feel bad about what they're doing wrong. Or I
No,
kind
and
of want,
that's never
yeah,
what I want to do. I want where a person leaves feeling confident about something they've asked. They
mm,
feel like they've gotten some sort of answer. They feel like, in other words, it may not even be the answer that they wanted, because let's be real, we don't always get the answer we want. But in other words, they're not feeling dejected, they're not feeling beaten down, they're not feeling berated. They're feeling like, hey, okay, well, no, that may not have been what I wanted to hear, but hey, this is how it works.
yeah, and it's not an interrogation. I always
Yeah.
talk about that. A lot of people just have been in relationships where they've been either on either side, verbally abused, physically abused, all
Yeah.
these different types of things where it doesn't always have to be that way, and
No.
it doesn't. And you can always do better. I think a lot of times, and a lot of people either blame themselves in a relationship, beat themselves up, or blame the other person a lot of times.
Right.
Right. Which there's probably both sides. I think we're all strong in some areas and weak in others. And maybe those are things we could cover and take an honest approach at. That's my 2
Right. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, because relationships. I just did a podcast myself, or a rant podcast, and I called it "Relationships Are Confusing." You know what I mean?
Oh, are they ever? Are they ever?
Right. It's like, and no day is the same, no week's the same. Especially if you're in a long-term relationship, things could get very ugly at times. They could be very fun at times, but
Yeah.
you're going to have your ups and downs no matter who the hell you are. You're not going unscathed. I'll tell you right now. I don't care who you are.
And I think that's really what it is, and I think one of my other things is, I have to say this for the ladies. Unfortunately, I am going to break your Disneyfication of everything. Disney has done a whopper on people. There is no Prince Charming coming to save you. Let's just get that straight right now. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You got to be your own thing. You got to say, you got to enjoy your life. You cannot depend. I have 2 daughters. I'm like, don't depend on somebody else to make you happy, and don't think that's going to last forever too. I don't
Exactly.
We discussed that before on yours. Like, I don't care how much money that person has at this point in time. He may end up bankrupt in the future. He may end up in jail. He may end up a drug addict. He may end up an alcoholic.
Right.
Or he may end up broke, and you end up financially wealthy, and now you're supporting him. Who the hell knows? But
who knows?
And make yourself happy. Pick, you got to be your own prince and your own princess. Like, if that's
exactly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I am the queen then. The funny thing, really funny, was for a while I was the gadget princess. And people kept saying, why are you a princess? I said, because the only way from princess is up. And they were like, why? I said, because when you're princess, eventually you become the queen.
That's funny. Yeah.
So yes, that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I am the queen then.
There you go. You're the hidden queen right now. Tell me, what image are you going to send me so I can put on YouTube for this podcast? What do you think?
I have a few. So we will, I definitely will send you something that you can use so you can have fun playing with.
Yeah, I'll just do a split screen with me, like doing like talking into a mic maybe, and then a split screen of whatever you want on the other end. And I'll name it, I don't know, something catchy. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Something fun like that. And I'll post this probably before the new year, actually. I like
that. Yeah, I was thinking
on New Year's Eve. I'll do this a New Year's Eve one. That'll be kind of
that'll be perfect. That'll be perfect. I think I'm gonna love this, because this way it also gives us a chance to push things out and promo what we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I'm going to do this sooner than that, just because New Year's Eve, no one has time for our YouTube or our podcast. And then I was going to
say, wait a minute. Yeah, because everybody's too busy getting ready to partay.
I'll time it right. I'll time it maybe in the next day or two, as long as you send me the photo. And then
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you shortly. I will definitely email it to you shortly.
All right, cool. And whatever images you want to use for the show, grab. I'm all over the place. If you need anything, I don't care if you make it yourself. You can do whatever you want.
No, the most hilarious thing I think I got from somebody was like, that guy is not over 50.
Oh, you haven't seen me in the light, though. You know how that goes.
No, but it was so funny. I was like, no, I promise you he is. And they're like, no, he's not. I was like, I promise you he is. I was like, just do me a favor. Whatever you do, don't slide in his DMs, please.
You're funny.
Like, please. Because I've had people do that. And the guest is like, I was on your show and now I'm getting DM'd by people. It's like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Whatever. It's fun. It's all in good, it's all in good humor and fun stuff. I have definitely tried to take care of myself throughout my life. And I had a cousin who was a model, who's very beautiful still to this day. And she used to say, take care of your body. I promise you it'll be worth it, you know? And they were always on the grooming, even as a young age. And I became obsessed with grooming and hygiene and all that. And I was very fortunate, especially living in Florida for the majority of my life, and also living in California for 6-7 years, being in the sun as much as I was, but I always did put a lot of sunscreen on, but you're still in the sun a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's going to beat you up. But maybe me having Italian blood, because my father's kind of dark, my mother's light.
Oh, okay.
In the middle, but I can get very, very tan fast. So, you know, a lot has to do with genetics. Let's call it for what it is. Like who I'm with now, Ria, she's Filipino. She's in her 50s and she's stunning, and people think she's in her 30s. And she's obsessed with her skincare, and, you know, and it was in that industry. So it's a job. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, a lot of people don't realize, you know, I teach anti-aging too. It takes a lot of work to try to look youthful if you want to.
It does. And that's the thing, is because I told you, like, I'm into a lot of natural skincare things.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, well, what do you do with this? And what do you do with that? And it's like, listen, you know, I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm like, I'm washing my hair. And they're like, okay, so call me when you're done. And I'm like, in 3 hours?
Mm.
And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going to be finished washing my hair in 3 hours. They're like, well, that includes like styling. I was like, no, that's just a washing process. That's not even getting into styling.
That's crazy.
But it's like, it's a thing that you have to do. And you realize the more you have to do for yourself to, you know, one, feel your best, because it's one of those things for me, it's always from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the one thing. And I've always taken this from my grandmother. So ladies, one thing I will definitely tell you is, you want to really, really get over a guy, you've went through a bad breakup, whatever, wash your hair. You don't have to cut it. You don't have to color it, but go through the whole washing process, deep conditioning. My grandmother used to say, you have to wash the man out of your hair. And trust me, it is like really a thing. It's relaxing.
Yeah.
You sit there with
you're cleansing.
You're cleansing, and you feel it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And you know, when I do the anti-aging stuff, when I try to help people with that, a lot of times it's not just about, you know, getting there. It's about maintaining it. You know, that could be weight loss, right? It could be hair.
Yes.
It could be hygiene, you know, just because you go out for a pedicure and a manicure, right? But if you never do it again, how does that help? Or you get your nose hairs and your ears trimmed one time and then you don't care anymore.
Yes.
Again, it's learning how to maintain it. You can be, you know, like taking care of your skin. You say you go for a facial, or you're using certain types of creams or whatever, skincare.
Right.
And then you quit after 6 months, right? So you got to, it's not just about getting there. It's about maintaining it, but don't go overboard. I think people either go too extreme. It could be with dieting and fitness again, where they're hardcore,
right,
where they know they're not going to maintain that. Even financially, I tell a lot of people, if you can't afford certain things, let's figure out how you can, but maybe back up, right? Maybe you can't afford facials, but you can afford, you know, masks for now. Or maybe you'll go to a school that teaches how to do facials, right? It could be, or you can't afford massages. Okay, find people that are trying to get their credits for massage, or go to a massage school. You know, there's
right.
You can't afford to go to this gym that's $48 a month. Let's maybe go to, you know, Planet Fitness for 20 or 10.
Right. And the other thing is, I'm going to tell everybody right now, yes, I am the coupon queen pin, and I love a good beauty school.
Yeah.
Because they're always looking for test subjects. Mm-hmm. You can get eyebrow waxing, you can get hair done, you can get nails done. And the thing is, normally it's done by the seniors, or you are you're a model for the teacher to show them what to do. So you're not just going to get there and get like oh, some crazy something where your hair is like half purple, half braided, half this and half that,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get some really good stuff. So yeah, don't overlook beauty schools. If they're open in your area, try them and find out what days are accepting the public.
Absolutely. The one thing I would say it's kind of catchy is like a dental school. You know, I get people get scared with something like that, but I will say this. You know, a lot of people let their teeth go, and even if you can't afford to go to a dentist and work out a payment plan, you got to have some type of alternative. You know, you got to have something, and maybe going to a dental school, getting something done is better than letting everything go.
Right, right. And
Right?
that's one of the things is going to a dental school because they do the same thing.
Exactly. And yeah, I'm telling you right now, massage. I used to even when I could afford it. So when I was real young, I loved going for massages. So I found a massage school. I'd go there, and then they also did nails and hair. They did everything. So I'd start hanging out there, and I started to know all the girls, the instructors, and I started to take my family members there because it's like $10 for a massage. You know what I mean? You tip them $10.
Yeah.
It was $60 back. Massages have been $60, $80 forever. So
Right.
to make a long story short, I even when I started to have the money and I could get massages somewhere else, I still went there. And it's amazing just going there. And a lot of times those type of schools will put more time and effort, right, into doing things. It may take longer, but they're very strategic. They have to learn how to do things correctly. You're not going to go in a place and get rushed in and out, right? So
Right. And that's the cool thing because the first time I actually went to go get my eyebrows done, it was at a beauty school, and I happened to be there, and I said, "Do you happen to do eyebrows?" And the funny thing was, the teacher looks at me and she says, "I was getting ready to teach eyebrows, so you're going to get your eyebrows done for free today." And I was
mm,
like, "What?" And it was one of the most amazing sessions I've ever had.
yeah. Yeah, and I see a lot. Well, I'll just wrap this up with my thing with those schools or whatever. And I talked about this in my first book, The Model Bible, with women with their hair a lot of times too, before committing or either going to the salon or going to a school is like getting a wig. You know what I mean? You don't even necessarily have to buy one, but go to a wig area or, a store. And before committing to going blonde and short or committing to doing bangs or not, or whatever, go put the wig on, take a photo yourself and take your time when doing that. Because so many women, I'd say, and sometimes dudes, your hair is going to grow back, right? We get it. But sometimes when you make those commitments and after a week or two, you're miserable because you went too far. You may have went all red. You may have gone all blonde. You may have cut it all off. Take your
Right.
time when making those type of decisions. And
Right.
wigs, even guys with toupees and stuff, I'm like, listen, before you start spending thousands of dollars on hair plugs or this or that, just go to a wig store. And I'm not kidding. Put a wig on your head like you could get them at a costume store. Wear it around your house. And probably after 2-3 days, you're going to be like, this is ridiculous. Right? Or I don't like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people jump in, you know what I mean, too quickly on a lot of things, anti-aging or cosmetic, or a lot of things, as you know. So it could be nails. It could be whatever. But take your time is what I'm saying before you spend that money.
Definitely. And let me tell you something, the temporary stuff is definitely cheaper than the permanent stuff because then you're trying to fix it. So yeah.
Yeah, and a lot. I don't think me and you touched upon it's wardrobe too. You know what I mean? I always talk about if you plan on losing weight, you know what I mean. You're gonna have to buy new clothes. But a lot of people want to lose weight, but they don't want to spend money on new clothes. Well, used clothes is kind of one way how to lose weight. I teach that where you could kind of downsize, or if you want to get bigger, you kind of go up a size. But with fashion, even if you don't want to lose weight or gain weight, do not commit like heavy. Go resale, go consignment, try different color styles.
Yeah.
You'll go out to the mall and spend, a few grand, couple grand on all these clothes, wear them for 2-3 months and be miserable, not even like it, and kind of want to change your identity another way.
Right. That's the crazy thing. So definitely, I agree. Yeah, definitely go to consignment shops, whatever. Yes.
Yeah, especially again, if you're going to lose weight or gain weight, because you may be a extra large, let's say, and then you go into a large and, so you got to buy new clothes most likely. Now you got a bunch of larges.
Right.
Don't buy a ton of larges because you may want to be a medium. If you want to lose another 10 pounds, who knows? You may end up a medium, right? So you just got to pay attention to those things. People don't think about that a lot of times, but
no, they don't. They really, really don't.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're here. That's what we're going to show them, teach them.
Oh
How to
my
live
God.
incredible life affordably. Uh,
Well, that's
so
what we're here for. So yes.
that's why you're the coupon queen. Pin.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, my dear. Anything else you want to cover? Talk about the future? Anything?
Well, I just look, like I said, I look forward to helping people. Let's make sure that we're doing those deals when life gets in the way and keep it fun and light.
Yeah. I think too, what a lot of me and you discussed, that's what I liked about our conversation was when you talk about relationships too, we're kind of looking at it from the dynamic of also somebody not losing a lot of money or going in debt while getting in the relationships or after breaking up
Right.
a relationship. Because it kind of goes
Right.
hand in hand. No matter what, being in a relationship costs money. It's not free, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really where people don't that and that's where I think a lot of the fight comes in,
Yeah.
is the money aspect, because everybody thinks they're getting this person that's going to fulfill them, but you've got to do stuff. Bills have got to be paid, dates have got to be gone on, things have to be paid for.
Yeah, I think a lot of men are afraid to sometimes get into a relationship, which is understandable because they think they have to take on the entire burden of relationships for some reason. And I get if you're going to go on a date, you want to pick it up most likely. But if you're with somebody who's really cool, they're not going to take advantage of you. They're going to probably, you know what I mean? If you buy a dinner, they're going to buy you the movie. If you're honest, well in a relationship and saying, hey, I'm not going to bullshit this person and pretend like I can fly all over the country or take her shopping and spend all this money or go to all these fine dining restaurants. You know what I mean? Take an honest approach and she'll respect you. If she likes you, she will want to grow with you. But if you're going to sit
Right.
there and kind of play bullshit and get in debt thousands and thousands of dollars, pretending it's not bothering you when it is, and then how does that work in your relationship? Now you're frustrated in your relationship. Now you don't want to tell her you're in debt or you're embarrassed because all these different types of things, but it's not easy.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, is because you and I have also talked about the fact that sometimes start a first date by going to get coffee or going to get ice cream or going to get pizza, something that's not so expensive, where you can have fun, it's really casual, and you can talk and get to know this person.
Yeah, I'm all about not dating at the beginning for sure. And a lot of people make fun of me. It's just about meeting up and building it because there's no, unless you really are into this person, maybe you're already friends with them. But yeah, definitely spending a lot of money on dating, especially, let's face it, if you meet somebody you like, you go, it's not one date. Usually in a month, it's 3 or 4, right?
Right,
And a lot
right,
of people can't afford to go to really a lot of restaurants in 1 month, plus gas, plus toll, parking. I don't know. It depends on where you live. Before you
right,
know it, you spend 2 extra grand that you didn't expect to spend. Don't
right.
do it to yourself. Like you can do other things. You can meet up as groups. You can meet up even for drinks. And believe me, I think a lot of men think that they have to take a woman out on a date, where I think a lot of women have no problem just meeting up themselves and taking it slow.
Right. And I think that's really the thing, is the expectation is set so high. And I think this is one thing I really want guys to understand. If you set the bar above your head, she's expecting you to go up. It's not necessarily
Right?
that she's gold digging, but she's like, if she knows, and understand this, I budget, so I know the approximate price of just about everything. So if I know a guy has spent $500 on a first date, okay, what are you going to do for a second date? Like, we expect you to go up. But if you're saying, okay, let's go to coffee, let's go for a walk in the park, and maybe we'll stop at a nice cafe, something that's so inexpensive, getting to know each other, not doing much. Now she knows, okay, maybe a second date, you're doing something a little bit more, and then a little bit more. But if you start the bar at like 500, 1,000, $2,000, where are you going for a second date? Like, are you taking her to Dubai on a second date? Like, seriously.
Yeah, guys complain about that shit. I'm like, you set the standard, dude. And you know what? A lot of women do too, to a certain degree. They may be dating a wealthier woman and he can't afford it too, right? And the woman may be more, in a better position to start traveling or take him on a cruise and do all these things.
Right,
And then when
right,
it
right.
ends, they're complaining about the other person, saying all they wanted me to do was like pay for their shit. All they wanted me to do was pick up the tab and all, like complain about it. I'm like, well, you set that standard. You understand that. And a lot of times,
Right.
you're the one who wants that. Take the hit. If you're the one who wants to go to fine dining all the time, and you take someone to fine dining for a while, and then it ends up breaking up, or you kind of set a standard where I should say you're always eating at these places, and all of a sudden you're going broke, and now you want to start eating fast food, and then the person's like, why are we going here now? I thought we kind of hang out, we do all these things. Well,
yeah, you can't start at Tavern on the Green and then want to take me to McDonald's like a month later. Like, seriously.
right. And a lot of dudes end up getting, they burn themselves. It's just the way it is. I mean, we could talk about funny stories all over the place with it, but be honest. I talk about it all the time. Be honest. Plus,
Yes.
a lot of times, if you're dating somebody or you're in a relationship, you kind of know if they're a server in a restaurant. I'm just saying, right? You know kind of what type of restaurant it is. You kind of know how much money they're going to make. Don't take advantage of the person either, right? I mean, but if you're a server, don't pretend like you own the joint, right?
Right.
Same time.
Yeah, I mean, people will date a valet. People will date a server. People will date a waiter or waitress, a bartender. So don't pretend, hey, that's my restaurant. That is my place. It's concierge service. Like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit that gets intertwined when trying to impress men or women, I think, on both ends, trying to pretend they're something they're not, especially on social media. Take an honest approach for the love of God. Most people know what type of car you drive. If you're going to date them, they're going to know what type of place you live in. You can only bullshit them for so long. So
that's the thing is, I think you got to take on the BS factor. Like, come on, she's checking, and I think that's the thing is, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Rich, but women are checking, and she's checking for a lot, but a lot of it isn't what guys think.
Right.
She's checking. Yeah, first of all, I will say this. We're checking hands. We're checking for a ring finger line. We're checking because we definitely don't want the baby mama wife drama. We don't want it. So yeah, we're checking. We're not trying to find out if you're manicured or not. We're not trying to find out, really what's going on with, how much drip or how much swag you have. We're really trying to make sure first, we're going to be safe.
Yeah.
We don't want drama, because one thing is, you can't outwoman a woman. We know how other women are. And it's goes back to something you said, which was competition. Women are always in silent competition with each other, and we just rather not be put in that position. So we're looking to make sure that you are not somehow attached to someone that, is going to cause us any issue later.
Yeah, I definitely think women want to be protected. I also think they want to be treated a certain way.
Right.
Right. And I also think a lot of times if they're going to get in a relationship with someone, they look at this person and say, hey, if I end up possibly having children with this person, if that's what they want,
right,
how are you going to be not only as a husband, but a father?
Right.
I looked at it that way and say, also, say I pass away, is he going to be able to take care of my children? Also, how is he going to treat my parents? How is he going to treat my siblings and my colleagues as well? It's not just about how he treats me. How does he work with them?
Right. And I think that's really, that's, what, you bring up a very valid point, because we normally stop there. We stop at how is he treating me?
Right.
How is she treating me? But especially if there are children from past relationships involved, you have to think, how are they receiving your children? How are they receiving your parents, your family members? How are they behaving when you invite them to family functions, work functions? These are things that are parts of your life.
Yeah, you're not just in a relationship with one person. You gotta understand, you're in a relationship with her relationships. So
exactly,
if I'm dating somebody and their parents aren't divorced, hypothetically, I'll use mine for example, I have to respect her parents. They have two sisters. I have to respect the two sisters. They have husbands and boyfriends. I have to respect them. They have children. I have to respect her nieces and nephew.
Right.
Because I think too, a lot of times at the beginning of a relationship, you don't have to get necessarily caught up in that. But if you end up living together and say getting married, you're married to the family. You're just not married to one person.
Right. And I think that's what it is no one wants to admit you get into a relationship regardless of if this person has children or not. It's still a package deal.
Everything's a package deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all carrying all our own baggage, or most of us are not,
Right.
which there are orphans out there. I'm not going to say there isn't.
Right.
You know, for the most part, a lot of us do have family members. Our parents may or may not be alive, but we usually have siblings. We usually have a lot of friends, or we have colleagues. That's all. And that's one of the things when it comes to dating, I don't like dating, is I kind of like to meet people in groups and stuff and see whoever I'm interested in with, how they're acting with who my friends and everyone are. Because I'm not giving all my everything up for whoever I'm with, but I also want to see, are they getting along too, right? How does this work? Is who I'm dating an asshole to my best friend and all my friends and treating my mother this way, or not very respectful to, say, my two daughters? This is all something that has to be addressed. And it's almost, I don't have to date somebody for 2-3 months and then kind of start that, because you don't even know, you're in too deep then, right? I kind of want to bring that
right. And I think that's really what it is we go for that, and it's like, now you're trapped. Like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, so, I didn't want to bring a ton of women around my daughters, but I would bring them around once after a certain amount of time as friends. It was not showing them I had any relationship, and I didn't have a relationship with these people yet.
Right.
It wasn't like I played bullshit where my daughters were around and we're boyfriend, girlfriend. I didn't tell them. I'm like, this is a friend of mine, and we're not sitting there lovey-dovey or anything, and these are my daughters. And seeing how they interact after a certain amount of time with them, because they're my priority. They're my number one priority, are my kids, right?
Right, exactly.
So, anyways, yeah, so that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much where we are. Yeah. Because I mean, I am the same way. I mean, as you know, I am a boy mom. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot to it. Like I said earlier, relationships are confusing.
It's confusing. And remember, wherever you go, you are bringing your clan along. So yeah.
Yeah, and every day's changing. You have no control over what other people do. So you may have a great relationship for a certain amount of time, and then something goes sideways. The other person may fall out of love with you, may leave you, may cheat on you, ghost you, may pass away. I don't know, but you got to understand, life is always changing and evolving, and it's not easy on anyone. And each dynamic you end up in your life at first, even if you're dating somebody, that's one dynamic. And then say you get married, it's another. And then you have one child, that's a different dynamic. Maybe you have 2 children, that's a different dynamic, right? I'm just saying, all these things are constantly happening, and each day is different. So I think a lot of us get in relationships, we're like, oh, it's going to be like this for the rest of our life. It's going to be set in stone. It goes this way. It's not going to go most likely the way you think it's going to go a lot of times.
Definitely. I agree.
It's a minefield. What are you going to do?
Just learn how not to step on the mines.
Just start with love each other, and you know what I mean, instead of hate. And if you find each other hating one another, it's you
just gotta go, move on, and keep it pushing.
It's hard in this day and age, to be with somebody for 60, 70 years of your life. It's a hard pitch, but it really is, especially in this day and age. We live a lot longer and a lot more different things going on. Not saying that you can't have a lovely long 50, 70 years. I just went to my uncle's 90 years old. They've been married almost 70 years, which is amazing, right? But then,
that is awesome and so cute.
It's amazing, right? And they're one out of how many thousands, right? But
right.
Yeah, you got some family members that have been divorced numerous times. You have other ones that have been, long-term relationships. And I used to do a thing at a family wedding, is if you were married for 10 years or above, I would do the announcements. So we have a massive family, and then I would say, okay, and I would start at 10 years, and I would address the 2 that were married at 10 years, and they would stand up and everybody would clap. And we would go all the way to whoever was the longest. And that aunt and uncle I just told you, I think they were at one time 64 years, right? 60 something years.
Wow.
It was amazing, because a lot of my family members on one side of my family does not get divorced. And then, on both sides, but then you have other family members that a bunch of them got divorced. It's kind of interesting,
Right.
Who knows? All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. We're getting ready. We'll kick it in the ass.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm going to follow your lead. Send me the photos. I'll upload this. And whenever you want to schedule next week, hit me up.
Okay, actually, I think we are scheduled one for next week. So, and then I'll see what my schedule is looking like for the rest of like that. Because I think we can probably get away with doing 3 episodes.
All right, cool. Yeah, they're off at 2:00, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5th, 6th, 7th, if I'm not mistaken. That's right.
Yeah. So I think we can get away with doing that, and then, we'll put those out and see. We'll put it out and see what comes back.
Exactly. We got to get you on video, though. It's time.
I promise, guys, I am getting on video. I swear, you must have talked to Lewis somewhere along the line, because he's gonna love it.
This will be awesome to get you on video, and people will be able to see you.
I know.
Listen, I am the king of audio with doing my podcast still, probably 90% of them audio, but it is a lot of people.
Really?
What works and does, like, I just went through this with my engineer too. What I liked about podcast originally was I kind of did it with the intent of rants or doing Q&As, right? Where people can work out or be in their car. They're kind of busy doing things. Originally that's kind of what podcasts were. They were almost like an extension of a radio interview, right? I think. But
right
now as things are evolving, people want to see these people interact, talk, chemistry, instead of listening. So if you have people that want to watch, let's put it this way, you have people that want to listen, you get the listeners. But if you got people that want to watch and you don't have that, you're going to lose them.
Right. That's true. It's kind of like, yes, guys, I will be getting on video. You heard it here. So
I'm kicking ass. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, my dear.
All right.
It's wonderful talking to you as usual. You're one of my favorite people that I ever talked to. It's awesome.
Thank you. The voice. See, now you find out what happens when you reach out to people.
Yeah, for sure. You never know what's going to happen. Here's a perfect example. 2 people that are friends now that never even knew each other a few months ago.
Exactly. And it just started from a by chance email.
Yeah, someone sent me something that has a bunch of podcasts. And like I said, I don't reach out to a lot of people to do that, which I probably should start. But the Coupon Queen pin, I said, what? That's right up my alley. I would presume 99.9% of men would be like, okay, that ain't who I'm hitting up, right?
No, well, the funny thing is, I will tell you this. Remember I said my listenership is men depending upon the time.
Yeah.
Somebody actually found out my after 1:00 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it's mostly men. And I was like, what? And I was like, I don't even want to think about what they're doing to my voice. Thank you.
Funny. Yeah, they give you times. I don't know, do you have a YouTube channel or no?
I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't kept up with it. But I've been getting the demographics from like Spotify and Apple.
Okay. Yeah, because like on mine, it says like from 12 to 6 is where a majority of the people that listen to my YouTube channel.
Right. And I know TikTok also has changed their demographic, which you and I have talked about getting on TikTok. TikTok has also changed their timing.
Yeah, grab clips, throw them up there. It's all like, it's I do a bunch of rant funny stuff on my TikTok. I haven't done it in a while. I got overwhelmed. But wait, one last thing before I forget. Did you hear about the movie Queen Pins or no?
Okay, so funny story, guys. I know the parties originally involved in the real life thing. I was so upset by that movie. And the funny thing was,
is it out?
Yes, it's on Paramount Plus.
Oh,
and actually,
that's why I haven't seen it. I'm excited.
And if you have, but if you have HBO, it's been on HBO. So if you have HBO Max, even you can watch.
I do. Oh, I'm watching it tonight because I love what's her name, the blonde. She's my favorite.
So yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is not how that went down. It wasn't even in the right state. Who does this? So yes, because actually the funny thing was when people saw Queen Pins and found out it was about couponing, like I had a whole slew of people. Are you the Queen Pin? I was like, I am not the person. I know the person, but I am not that person.
Wow. Let's get him on the podcast.
You can't. She's actually still in jail.
I was gonna say you took the words I go, but she's probably in jail. We got to do like a
she's still in jail.
Tiger King where he's in the joint and he's on he's on a hard line.
Oh my gosh, that'll be so funny. It's like, when did you know you were in trouble?
Yeah. That's funny. That looks like a pretty funny movie, though.
It is a funny movie. I mean, like, if you're just watching it for comedy thing, it is pretty funny. But I think, like I said, I had more of a bias because I know the people that it happened to.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Perfect. We are in an hour and 1 minute. I thought we were going to do 15, 20 minutes. I swear to you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I didn't know how long. All right. Do not forget. Send me, actually, you want me to come up with, for this one, send me whatever title you want to use. Send me your image, and then I'm going to upload it as quickly as possible. Like I said, I don't want to do this on New Year's. I want this to kind of get floating.
Okay. So I will send you a title. I will send you my image, and then we will get it rocking and rolling from there.
Yeah. Whatever written content you want me to put under the about for this too, it could be about you. And I can grab me or whatever, just whatever you think. And if you don't send anything, cool. I'll just type something up. It's up.
Okay, cool. Cool.
All right. I will talk to you later, Shonda.
Talk to you later.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.